Why do you feel replaceable when he talks to another woman, even if the betrayal happened years ago, and in some cases, maybe even decades ago? Now, that is the question that you and I are about to answer. You can be having a conversation in a room, your husband is over here and you're over here, and you look over there and he is having a conversation with the opposite sex. I mean, after all, there are about 50% of women on this planet, so there's a 50-50 chance that his conversations are going to be with another woman. Where one woman might just say, oh, okay, that's my husband talking to, I don't know, Jennifer over there. For you, it just hits differently. Your chest tightens, your whole world may go dark, and you may instantly begin to think, oh, what if that conversation is so intimate or so important or so interesting that he is going to start thinking about that person, about that woman, long after the conversation is over, which means that she's going to be a lot more interesting than I am, which means that I'm going to be replaceable, right? I mean, if that kind of thought happens for you, if you spiral into those kinds of thoughts, first of all, I really want you to think that, I don't want you to think that there's anything wrong with you. I don't want you to think that you should have gotten over it by now. I want to discourage you from blaming yourself. And I also, while this may be a little hard to do, I want to discourage you from blaming him. Okay? And I am saying this because the same thing happened to me. Right before we got married, there was infidelity in my relationship. And while some people did try to discourage me from moving forward with the marriage, I chose, against their better judgment, I chose to move forward anyway. While I'm certainly glad I did, and I'm going to encourage you to save your judgment for after this video. You're probably going to see why I did as well. But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that that was my person and that I wanted to move forward with a marriage and work through this together. So what I didn't do the proper healing, which is really why I'm even making these videos on this channel, to show you, to share with you what my healing journey has been like, in hopes that it's going to help you. But for a long time, when I would see my husband talk to another woman, I would instantly go into this over-analyzing mode. What are they talking about? Are they laughing? Does he find her interesting? Is he regretting not being single? Does he wish that he could get to know this person a little bit better? Am I replaceable? Am I the wrong choice? Did he settle for me? Who would respect someone like me who stepped over their values and so forth? I would just be consumed with all of those thoughts and questions. So if this resonates with you, then you really want to continue to watch this video. So what really happened there under those circumstances is, in most cases, couples will talk about this, right? They would say, oh, don't talk to so-and-so, that hurts me. And he would say, you know what, I get it, I know it hurts you, but there are no ill intentions. And then she would say, you know what, I know that there are no ill intentions, but it does hurt me. And how do you think I feel? Depending on how heated the situation is, sometimes it can be a very civilized conversation, and other times it can be very heated argument. And you get kind of pulled into that cycle. We certainly did. So it makes you wonder, hey, am I crazy? Is our marriage going to be like this forever? And if it is, am I keeping both of us hostage? Are we not? Is love not enough, right? I mean, we are learning to love each other, and we're learning to overcome this, but maybe it's not enough. Maybe we should have learned from our mistakes and then moved on, right? And while that way of thinking is perfectly normal, and for some couples it does work that way. But for many of us, yours and mine included, the decision to stay was already made, and the decision to not get a divorce was already made, and the decision to not have a bad marriage is also made, because you and I are choosing to watch videos like this. So what's really going on there is that you're not reacting to what's happening in the present moment. You know, I always say, for men like my husband, uh, he wouldn't sign up for years, or in our case more than 2 decades of pain and these kinds of arguments if we were not worth it, right? So nobody really signs up for this. We didn't just say, oh, okay, well, get over it. You said yes, you're moving on. Let's never have this conversation. We tried that, actually. We tried it at the very beginning. It didn't work. But couples like us, they actually say, you know what? If my life is going to be like this, it's going to suck. These kinds of days are going to be really bad, but all the other days are going to be very good. So I'm going to choose the good over the bad, and I'm going to live with it. And that's so beautiful, but it doesn't have to be that way either, right? We don't have to live with the trauma. We get to heal the trauma together. And this is these spirals, these examples of these conversations between your husband and another woman, they're just beautiful messengers to you. They're just telling you, hey, this is what hasn't been healed yet. This is what we need to heal together. You, my friend, are just reacting to a deep, unhealed wound that is being kind of picked at by normal, everyday circumstances. So what that tells us is, hey, it's time to heal that. And why hasn't this wound been healed? Well, simply because you have not been taught how to heal a wound like this. You know, I come from a background where infidelity was rampant. My father was, there was a lot of infidelity in my family. Everybody talked about it. My mother just simply hoped that one day he's gonna have enough of it. And he never got to live to that day because he died very young. So he never got to make things better. So the memories that she has of him are really just the memories of him spending more time with other women than with his family. And the only stories that I have of him are the stories of him being a drunk and a cheater. And then my own mother got caught up multiple times with married men. So I grew up in that environment. So my mother justified it in every case. My father never got to justify himself, so I don't know what he would have said about that. But so I never got to learn how to properly heal from infidelity or any kind of betrayal. So what I did, I just decided, you know what, my heart wants to move forward with this man, and we're gonna go ahead and get married, and we're gonna buy a house, we're gonna do all these different things, we're gonna have a baby, and we're gonna do all the things. And we did all of those things that every couple has, but we never healed our wounds. So we just kind of always carried that and just grew bigger and bigger and bigger. So in order for me to feel a little less pain, I became more and more militant, and I would say, don't talk to that person, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, and he would say, okay, no problem, I'm gonna make sure that I don't do this and that and that, but in order to make you feel safe, and it would feel good temporarily, but obviously things just started to feel a little too tight, right? Because we were living these rigid lives. Like, he's not allowed to talk to all these people. He's not allowed to make his decisions about what he does after work. He's not. So it just really owned us. It consumed us. And I became more and more bitter because it was never enough. It was never whatever he did where he wanted to be his own man. I thought that I was losing him. So I was reaching more and more for him. And simply because I just did not know how to properly heal from the initial wound. And when you live like that, which I'm sure you can relate to a degree here, when you live with that wound, it's not like you feel less threatened. It's not like you feel like you are in charge of your life. You're like, if you think about like Lord of the Rings, like you're like Gollum, you're just constantly more and more and more and more and more, and it's just never enough. It's just like this never ending well of need for certainty that you condition yourself that you can only get from him. And when James and I decided that, you know what, we want to heal together, we want to forgive what happened in the past, we want to own what happened in the past. We're not gonna blame the other person for the choices that we made ourselves, and we need each other for it, right? So when we decided to go to therapy, that was one of our first steps. The therapist would say, you know, it is your choice to make yourself feel safe here, and he can't make you feel safe. Nobody can make you feel safe. Of course, that is the truth, right? I get that. I've read enough books on psychology that I know that nobody can make you do anything, but and I want to make myself feel safe, and I believe that it is my responsibility to feel safe. However, I can never create safety if the environment that I'm in is questionable. You know, I also come from a background where there was a war in the 90s in Bosnia, and so there was a lot of chaos in the early parts of my life. So you cannot feel safe. You cannot choose to feel safe when the bombs and grenades are falling around you. It's just impossible. So when the two of us teamed up and said, you know what, I'm gonna ensure you that what happened back then will never happen again. And you can question me anytime you need to. You can go through all of my stuff. I will never be offended. This is the life that I have chosen, and I am a wide open book. I will reassure you as many times as you need me to reassure you. Okay, so that is something that he created for me. And then I said, you know what, because you are giving me this beautiful safe space to feel reassured, I am going to work on healing myself from the inside out. I'm going to do things for me that remind me of who I am and what I'm made of, and how strong and courageous and beautiful and powerful I am. And together in this beautiful safe space, when I add this inner power, that is how our marriage is healed. So when we embarked on that journey, when we decided that that's how we are going to create a safe environment for ourselves, I ended up being a lot more at ease when I see him speaking to another woman, because I knew that this man is in my corner. This man has my best interest at heart, and that he just wouldn't do anything that would make me question his integrity. Not today. And when you create an environment like that, when both parties pour into this beautiful union, this beautiful marriage, your success in your marriage becomes inevitable. And there's no amount of therapy or books or seminars or force that can create that except for the two of you. So let me know if this resonated with you. If it did, what questions you have about our journey, and I will do my best to answer them. And of course, subscribe for future videos.